Hi guys, DYAD in the Force coming to you guys with a new video series called
Huh? If you're new to DYAD in the Force, we're a community of positive Star Wars fans who love to share our passion for it. Does this mean that we love everything no matter what? No. No.
No, we all love different projects and sometimes don't agree, and we thrive on that civil discourse. What that also means is that we don't spend all of our time hating everything Star Wars either.
This leads up to this series. Where we debunk articles and videos on Star Wars that actively spread misinformation based on that hate.
With that said, let's get to our first article. So ScreenRant writes, 5 words just made Luke Skywalker's Last Jedi future even more unforgivable. And this is a topic that Choco and I hold near and dear to our hearts because The Last Jedi is our favorite movie, and a lot of times this idea of Luke Skywalker being out of character often gets misconstrued or twisted in this way, and we wanted to address this article. So they start by saying Star Wars has just made Luke Skywalker's future in The Last Jedi even more unforgivable than it already was, and it cites Star Wars number 43 by Charles Soule, where Luke Skywalker is essentially saying no one is beyond help, and these are the 5 words that they are citing, ruining his future. And just before I throw it off to Choco, I do want to just ask the simple question. Choco, does that mean Luke is going to be the one that helps everyone?
No. Yeah, exactly. Everyone can be helped, and that actually adds to The Last Jedi, doesn't detract from it. In fact, when Luke goes to face him and he says, "I'm not here to save him," he's also not there to kill him as well. Yep. That was never on the table, and that's why it was one of the most Jedi things that he could do. He was absolutely right. The whole time he saw good in Vader, of all people, with everything that Vader had done wrong. Now, just because Vader could be saved, does that mean that Luke would never harm Vader?
I mean... Let's read this next paragraph. Seeing both the good and the bad still remaining within his father, this issue reveals the key moment in Star Wars timeline when Luke knew Anakin Skywalker could be redeemed back to the light. As such, it's a significant chapter that perfectly sets up his destiny seen in Return of the Jedi. However, Luke's confirmation that no one is beyond help is also frustrating considering his later actions revealed in The Last Jedi regarding the darkness within his nephew. And this goes towards another kind of notion that gets thrown around, is that as soon as you have done something, you don't level up and suddenly that thing is a part of you and it is without reproach. This was addressed in The Last Jedi. Rey asks Luke, but you saw the good in him. You know, she is the insert for the audience, and they knew that this question would come up, and Luke answers, and that made me a legend, but I couldn't live up to that legend. And so what we're basically arguing here is that, yeah, no one is beyond help. That means there's a certain person that can help them. And this is the overarching message of Star Wars, right?
It also has to be at the right time as well.
Yeah. I often say Anakin wasn't Luke's failure. It was Obi-Wan's. And what did Obi-Wan do? He went into exile. He failed in his personal mission to stop Darth Vader.
One of my favorite scenes with Obi-Wan is in Rebels when he's talking to Maul, and Maul asks, "Is it the chosen one?" He's talking about Luke. And Obi-Wan said, yes, he is. Now, Obi-Wan was wrong, but it makes sense that he would believe Luke to be the chosen one and not Anakin because of what Anakin had done.
And so we go back to this moment in Return of the Jedi with Luke and Anakin. Of course he sees the good in him because Anakin wasn't his failure. He is the innocence coming in and saying, "I want to save my father." And what does he do? He strikes him down because he threatens to harm his sister Leia. Now, in this case, moving on to Kylo Ren, or his nephew Ben. Ben was his failure. He failed his nephew. Did he try to strike him down? No, he ignited his lightsaber for a brief moment and saw that he had failed. At that moment, though, it was too late. Ben had saw what he needed to see and fell. But that was Luke's failure, and it hit him harder, just as hard as it hit Obi-Wan with Anakin. And so who's the person that is meant to help Ben? Rey. Rey comes in with that innocence, just as Luke did in Return of the Jedi, and she's the one that's saying, we can turn Kylo. And this is the whole message of this entire no one is beyond help. This comic does not refer to Luke being the end all be all of I'm going to help everyone, I'm going to turn everyone, and I'm going to see the good in everyone.
In fact, had Luke believed that, he might have felt like Anakin did, because that's a lot of the similar lines of thinking, that he has to be the one to do everything. That's why Anakin fell. But what's so important is to understand what was at stake in that moment and what was going through Luke's mind. It almost reminds me of the scene in the Clone Wars and what's the scene in Obi-Wan where a guy was holding the ship hostage. He had a bomb, he was going to blow it up. Anakin killed that dude. The reason he was chided, the reason we hear dark side music right after that, everyone can be saved, including that guy who was going to blow up the ship. You shouldn't have killed him. You could have taken off his hand or done a number of different things to disable him so that he could stand trial, make amends, and return. That's basically exactly what happens in The Last Jedi. The fact that Ben can be saved doesn't mean that you don't have to think about protecting the people that he's going to harm, especially if you see the death and destruction of everyone and everything you loved. If all of the people who died when the Hosnian cataclysm happened, the entire system being wiped out, if you got a sense that was going to happen, that would shake you to your core. That is someone holding a detonator. Yeah, it passed like a fleeting shadow, but he knew that he could be saved, and that's why he didn't show up in person to kill Ben. He never tried to kill Ben. He did try to kill Vader, though. Really hard.
But yeah, guys, that's exactly what we're trying to argue here, is that these 5 words don't mean that Luke is going to be the one that saves everyone. He believes that everyone can be saved. It's just you got to think about who can save him. And in this case, Luke, being the last spark of Padme, was the one to redeem Anakin. And, you know, if we were to take this logic beyond this, then Obi-Wan should have been the one to redeem Anakin. But that's just not what Star Wars is. That, you know, you need that certain person. Like Rey comes in with the innocence. She doesn't know Ben the way that Luke does, and that helps her the same way Luke is helped by the fact that he doesn't know what Anakin and Vader has done. He just knows that that's his father. That does it for this video of we plan to do a lot more videos like this, because a lot of articles do come out based on well, I don't want to assume that it's based on hate, but it is certainly based on a misunderstanding that Luke would never do these things. And we just kind of want to reiterate that, you know, these characters that we love and we respect over the course of 40 years are all human and can make mistakes. But that's it for this one. On to the next one, Choco.
For light and for life.
We are all the dyad.
And take it easy.